Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I'm your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode 138 of the show, and before we get started, we're going to do a house cleaning quick because, well, you guys know we always do it here anyways, so we're going to do it. So yeah, my show, my rules. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for coming back and listening. Thank you guys for constantly, loving me and supporting me throughout this entire process, because you guys know this stuff isn't easy. I know it takes a lot of time out of me to edit the episodes, specifically edit the audio, put the video together, put all that stuff together, and then, even coming up with the topics to talk about, even though, yes, I know we're currently in Techtober, well, Tech November, because there's a lot of big things in tech happening in November this year, and obviously Techtober is like for October, but, November has a lot of big stuff happening, so there's plenty of news to talk about. But I do want to say thank you guys for coming back and listening. Obviously, for you guys that are watching on YouTube, you guys are watching the video version, and then everyone else gets to listen to the audio version, which kind of sucks a little bit because if you're watching the video version, you get to see everything, what this episode is going to be about. And the audio version, you really just have to hear what I'm talking about. You don't really get to see the visual aspects that go with it. But, I give everyone the choice, so you guys can pick and choose how you want to listen to it. But I also want to say thank you guys for coming back and listening. Thank you for downloading the episodes. We're already over 1,950. Hopefully we can get to 2,000 before the end of the year. Only a couple, maybe this month and the next month. So hopefully we can get done. But thank you guys so much. Obviously, thank you to Patreon backers for continuing to be awesome. You guys are great. I love you guys to death. But I feel like it's time to get into today's episode because a lot of people have been hitting me up about this. They're like, Josh, you gonna explain? You're gonna pull the cat out of the bag and explain what the F? Because a lot of people were surprised by what I put on my social medias. And if you don't know, well, I'll show you. This is the Xbox Series X. I did not get a review copy from Microsoft. Obviously, I'm not partnered with Microsoft, so I didn't get a review unit. But I got the Xbox Series X early. I got it on the 7th of November. So I got it 3 days before the launch because obviously the time of this recording, it is the 10th of November. So the day of launch. But when it goes live, it'll be the 11th. However, I got the console 3 days early. And you guys are wondering, what the F? How? And I will explain that because I feel like I need to explain because some people are like, what the frick? So long story short, what happened was in Lubbock, the town that I am for college, or, I'm in Lubbock for, because I'm go to Texas Tech, but there was someone in town who got his console early. He got it on the 6th of November. I don't know how. It's a legit Xbox because, well, I'm using it and it's 100% legit. It's a real thing. And he got it early, but he thought I should be fine financially. I don't think I need to worry that much. He paid for it like the normal paying price of $500, depending on the state of Texas. Sales tax is like $540 with tax. But he was like, crap, I need money. So he just sold it. And obviously he knew he was going to get a lot of attention. A lot of people are like, I don't believe you. This is fake. Like, no one has this thing early. This thing is such a tight lock and key thing. Like, this isn't going to come out early. And I saw it. I'm like, you know what? Let me give the dude a shot. Let me give him a shot. And so I talked to him. And I see when I meet up with him, it's real. I'm like, holy crap, this is real. This isn't fake. This is the real deal. And I was like, well, here you go. So I gave him the money. And I brought the sucker home. I talked to my friends about it, and we were setting it up and everything. And lo and behold, it's 100% legit. It works. I literally got the thing early before release day, and I'm not a reviewer. And a lot of people were like, what the F? And a lot of people were asking me questions, how is this running? How's this running? And that's why today's episode is really just doing my hands-on impressions with the console so far, because I've had it since the 7th, and I've been blessed with the opportunity to continue to play this sucker, and it's running great. I always told people that for me, it is going to be very interesting to see if Microsoft's performance claims for this generation were true. It was always seeing if Microsoft, was BSing, if the power was real, and if these things did what they were supposed to do. And lo and behold, long story short, it's legit. The power is insane for a console perspective, because you also have to keep in mind, yes, in terms of PC hardware, well, just being honest, PCs are better. They still will be. They always will be, because, well, obviously PCs have Zen 3 architecture for the AMD processors. They have the 3000 series graphics cards, and they also have the Radeon RX 6000 series coming as well. So obviously, yes, these consoles are running RDNA 2, which is, the RX 6000 series processor, well, GPUs inside them, or more like a scaled down version of them. But yes, these things are incredibly potent. These things have a lot of power. And I was actually very surprised, because I didn't want to use the normal games that everybody was doing in their reviews and things like that, because you can go watch all those other reviews and just watch them do the same games over and over and over. But I actually had a very specific set of games that I wanted to do. I wanted to run Monster Hunter. I wanted to run Smite. I wanted to run Warframe. I wanted to run World of Tanks. I wanted to run, Minecraft. Obviously, I'm very excited to see the ray tracing Minecraft and see how that performs on the console, but we'll get back to that later. I'm gonna run GTA on this sucker. I'm gonna do everything I possibly can, because to me, I'm making this very clear that this is a first impressions, that this is not a review, because I do not feel like a couple of days or even a week or 2 weeks is healthy to provide a good review. I feel like I need a month, maybe 2 months with the thing to actually give you hardcore, or like straight to the point, no BS, like actual performance, and using it in every day. And for me, a lot of people told me, Josh, what's the point of getting the Xbox when you already have a PC? Like, you have a really potent PC. Like, yeah, people tell me, Josh, you got a 3900X, you got 32 gigs of RAM, you got like 3 SSDs in your thing, you got like a 1200 watt power supply, you got, obviously my GPU is not the best, the 2060 Super, but still, like, I have a very mid to high, almost borderline high-end PC, and people are like, what's the point of getting the Xbox? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I told people, to me, it's always been that experience of playing on an Xbox. Like, I know some people say, well, you get a better experience on PC. Well, I tell people there's a lot of things that I don't do on my PC that I only did on my Xbox, like party chats and things like that with my friends. Like, a lot of my friends are still on Xbox. A lot of my games that I have on my Xbox, I can't transfer my accounts to my PC, like Warframe. I'm not restarting my Warframe account, because, like, crap, that's a lot of stuff that I put into that account, and I don't want to restart that, because that's a lot of stuff that I can't get back. Because if you guys play Warframe, you know that they obviously like vaulting things. They like vaulting primes, prime weapons, prime Warframes, and a lot of the Warframes that I have are vaulted, and I'm not paying platinum to get them back. I'd rather keep my account, because I grinded them out, or I got them at a fair price when they were still available from people, because they were cheap. And for me, it was very satisfying, playing those games again on the console, but now they're running even better. Like World of Tanks, I've actually been playing more World of Tanks now because of the new Xbox. And I find it interesting that a lot of people haven't even mentioned World of Tanks, because World of Tanks actually got an update at the launch of the console. Like, I booted it up on the 10th, and I see Series X and Series X Enhanced, and I'm like, okay, let's give it a try. I thought the game was running 60 FPS before they patched it. It looked like it was running 60 FPS, and it still looked great. There was no stutters, there was no buffering. And then you look at the Enhanced, and it's like, whoa, like, that's a big difference. Clean, buttery smooth, like 120 frames, very buttery, no issues. It looks gorgeous. All the tanks look incredible detail. And I was surprised. I was like, holy crap. Granted, I haven't gotten the chance to try the Master Chief Collection, because the Master Chief Collection doesn't launch its patch for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S until the 17th of November. And Destiny 2, even though they launched Beyond Light, still hasn't released the patch for the, better FPS in Crucible campaign, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, it's definitely been very impressive. I'm surprised with how fast my games are loading. I'm surprised with the power that this thing is able to pump out for these games, and they're running well. Because I've told people many times that this generation is primarily defined by performance. It's literally pushing 60, like that's the point, is to push to 60 FPS and above. It's not to keep things at 30. I know a lot of people say, well, the graphical improvements and things like that. I'm like, well, yes, I do believe graphical improvements are great. I will always say performance is better, because when a game runs better rather than looking better, I say that is more important, to be honest. Yes, you can get the best of both worlds on PC. However, I still believe that when we're talking about the console perspective and the value at $500 for the Xbox Series X, we're not even mentioning the S, because obviously I cannot give my impressions on the S because I don't have the S. I only have the X. And I told people, to me, I wanted the big box first. I wanted the Series X. It needed to be the best of the best. And I will also say this, the storage thing, because I do want to touch on that too. Yes, the storage thing is a very interesting case, because I've put like 10 games on this sucker and I've already used half of the storage. You get a 1 terabyte SSD built into the console. When you boot it up and everything, you get access to 800 gigs. And I've already used a couple, I've already used a fat chunk of it. And that's like, yeah, it's very interesting. That means that I definitely have to buy one of those expansion cards, which I tell people all the time, you're gonna have to buy one of these things regardless, because you're just gonna have to. But like, I wish I was kidding. Like, you're gonna need those expansion cards. Like, those things will come in handy, or external storage. It's just, my God, it's so expensive though. Like, we're talking about like $220 for these cards, bro. And I'm like, if it was $220 for a 2 terabyte, I'd be like, yes, sir, take my money now. But $220 for a 1 terabyte, I'm like, whew, you're going to hurt my bank account, bro. You're hurting my bank account, Xbox. But to me, it's a very interesting situation. I'm very happy with how the console's performing. I'm surprised it's performing the way it is, because it's performing very well. And I will also touch on how quiet this thing runs, because I'm like, holy crap, I thought people were kidding. No, this thing runs quiet. I don't hear this thing at all. Even while I'm recording right now, you can't hear that thing. It's right next to my bed. Like, it's right next to my bed. Like, I sleep right next to it, because like, it's on my little shelf right next to my bed. But when I run it, I don't hear it. Yes, it obviously is warm to touch, but that's because the heatsink is doing its job to expose, pump out the heat and get rid of it. But it performs incredibly well, and it's quiet. And for $500, and it's an insane value, because I know on the launch, it was crazy. A lot of people were trying to get one. I know my friends that work at GameStops, they were telling me that, bro, we only got a couple extras. Like, we got like 4 to 5. And they're like, it's going to be crazy. There's going to be people camping outside the GameStops. There are going to be people camping outside Walmarts, people camping outside Targets, Best Buys, wherever. And they're going to try to get these things. But there's also the interesting thing of like scalpers. And I'm just like, F the scalpers, bro. Because there was somebody, I was actually in a GameStop with my friend, and she was taking a call. And there was a guy was like, bro, I'll buy all of your Series X's tomorrow. Like, just me and my business partner, we're going to be giving these away for charity and things like that. I'm like, dude, cut the bullshit. We know you're not doing, we know you're going to sell these hosts for like $800+ a piece to $1,000. So I can tell there's high demand for these things. The PS5 is probably going to be even crazier, because they actually did more pre-orders beforehand. So, it's going to be crazy. But from my early impressions with the console, it's definitely been impressive. Yes, I will say there have been some games I want to try that I haven't tried yet, because they've been downloading. I haven't tried GTA 5. I know a lot of people have been asking me, Josh, how's GTA 5 on these suckers? Does it run at 60 FPS? And we're going to try. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but that's a question that I'm going to have when I do my full review in a month. That I'm planning on doing it December 10th. A month, basically a clean month with the console. I might actually do it earlier, since I got the console on the 7th, but I'm going to do a 1 month review of the console. And then from there, I'll probably do a 6 month and maybe a year, and then so on and so forth. But to me, I am very impressed with what Microsoft has been able to pull off with this console so far. Does that mean that it's perfect? No, it does not mean that it's perfect. There's obviously going to be issues. Like, yes, I do not believe this thing is going to be doing 4K 120 on every single game. It really comes down to the optimization of the developers. It comes down to, you know, how the thing actually looks, if it's using dynamic resolution or true 4K. I do believe it's going to always come down to optimizations. And yes, a lot of people say, well, Josh, like, that's just a lot of backwards compat games. Where are the first party games? And I'm like, well, yeah, they're coming. Like, that's just the cold hard reality. Is I can't tell you that there's a lot of first party games right now to play, because the reality is they're coming. Like, Halo Infinite doesn't come out till next year. And then from there, you know, Fabled is coming. And then we have all the other games that are coming as well that are first parties. But it's going to be very interesting to see how Microsoft proceeds from this. Because, yeah, so far, it seems like it's a well-received launch. Based on early impressions, it seems like this is a good launch for Microsoft, that everyone's happy with how the consoles are. Yes, availability is kind of a pain in the ass, but that's a given of a new console generation that's promising big leaps in performance that we haven't seen before. And it's impressive. And a lot of people are excited. I know I'm excited. Like, I told people when the pre-orders went live in September, I was F5ing my computer like a madman to get one. And one, like I also mentioned too, is my pre-order still coming, by the way. So the day this episode goes live, that's when the pre-order, you know, that's when the pre-order comes in. So I'm gonna have 2 of these suckers. Yes, I'm not holding on to the second. I'm selling that one. Trust me. Like, I'm not scalping it either. I'm just being honest. Like, I got this one off somebody. I'm not scalping the other one. Like, trust me, I'm not doing that. I'm not a POS. I'm selling it to a friend who didn't get one. So, you know, much love to my brother, because, well, he's not really my brother, but I treat him as a brother. So, you know, he's a homie. But it's going to be very interesting. And to be honest, I'm very shocked. You know, this is the first time I've ever gotten a console the day it came out, but I also got it early. This is the first time this has ever happened to me, that I was blessed with the opportunity to get this thing early, that I got to do my early impressions, that I got to do things that other people aren't able to do. And for me, I'm very blessed. I appreciate the opportunity that it was presented to me, and it wasn't given to me. Like, this came out of my pocket, so I have no reason to be a Microsoft apologist to you, because, well, Microsoft's not paying me to do the review about it. They're just like, okay, he exists. Like, I didn't even get acknowledged. If I would have got a review copy, even if I did got one from Microsoft themselves, like, to do a review, I still wouldn't BS y'all, because, you know, there's no point. Like, why would I do that? Like, you guys are going to spend your hard-earned money. I might as well give you the honest truth and the honest, objective truth that I possibly can give. That's why, to me, like, this came out of my wallet. So I'm going to be objective. I'm going to be harsh on this thing. I'm going to push it. If something pisses me off, I'm going to tell you what pisses me off. So far, I haven't had any issues that pissed me off. Besides, like, the whole, you know, some games are taking a little bit longer to pump out the patches, which, you know, yeah. And granted, do I think I'll run into issues? Oh, yeah. I guarantee you I'm going to run into issues. That's just a given with a console launch. Like, when you buy a console day one, or even, you know, early and things like that, yes, you're going to deal with some issues. Like, the PS5 already has some reported issues, and we're going to talk about those, even though we have news from Apple to talk about. But there's definitely a lot of things going on right now. But for me, I just haven't had any issues so far with the Xbox in the couple days I've had with it so far. Yes, we're still going to be testing it. We're still going to be pumping reviews out for this. Not soon, but you guys get it. I mean, like, next month there will be a 1-month review of me using it daily for an entire month, seeing how this thing performs, letting you guys know how I feel about it, like, if it's really worth it getting one. Because I know a lot of people are like, Josh, is it worth it? Is the $500 premium price tag worth it? Because yes, for a lot of people, that's a bit steep. Like, yeah, a lot of people were like, $500, bro. That kind of hurts the bank account a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But so far, to me, I'm enjoying it. The experience is great. And, you know, let me know in the comment section down below, or if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know, were you able to get a console? Were you even able to get it day one? Did you get it pre-ordering? But I'm really excited for this. This is an exciting time, and just let me know how you guys feel about it. But I do want to thank you guys for coming back and listening. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys constantly keep coming back and you keep listening to these episodes. It really does. I love you guys to death. Please please continue to be safe. Please continue to take care of everyone around you, because it's pretty rough times out there, you know? Be safe, guys. I love you guys to death. Bye.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.